Hello everyone. I know I've been missing for a couple of weeks with not doing my normal weekly video. However, sometimes life gets in the way and I just wasn't able to get it accomplished. But I am back now and hopefully can stay on track for a little while. Today we're going to do a very simple limited stamping on card. I made it into a happy birthday card, but again, this is a card that you could do in many different sentiments and for many different occasions. I used one of the papers that was from Celebration. Of course, Celebration is now over and it's retired, but I have paper that I need to get used up. So today that's what I'm going to be using. And again, it's just a happy birthday card. So stamp sets, you could just use anything that you have that has for any sentiment that you want or birthday. I didn't bring my stamp sets over here, but I just have a simple happy birthday greeting and then an inside saying. For the framelits, we're going to be using the Fabulous Frames, and we're going to be using this large frame right here. This is the one that's going to give us this white frame on the outside border. And then the only other one that we are using is, get this in here. The other one that we're using is from the Something Fancy frames. I hope these do not retire because I use these all the time. And I'm just using this small one to do our greeting in the front. And for the ink, we are using the Memento Black ink, and that is the only ink that we are using. Like I said, there's minimal stamping on this card. It's very quick, very easy. We also have a little ribbon bow for the and some shiny embellishments. And you can use anything that you want. I'm happy to use these. They are retired, but it does have some of the colors that I think will work on this card. So to get started, in your packet you have a card base, which is my normal size. This is Highland Heather, and it is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Here's the little bow that we're going to use. This is just some retired gorgeous grape ribbon that we're going to use. I've already cut out the framelit, so you'll have a piece of 4 1/4 by 5.5 paper, basic white, and this is the one that we're using to cut out the frame, which, like I showed you, is from the Fabulous Frames, and it's this one right here. Okay. And then you'll have a piece for the inside of the basic white. This is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and we have a piece of Designer Series paper. You could use any paper that you want. This card would look beautiful with any type of paper that you might want to use. And this one is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, so it's really the same size as your inside paper. And then we have a piece of paper that'll be for our envelope flap. So I think to start off with, first of all, I'm going to fold my card base. Use my bone folder. I do believe I have one in here, and I do. And we will just burnish that and get a nice, hopefully nice flat fold. I can put that to the side. So we will do our stamping, get it out of the way. You'll have a little scrap in your envelope that you can use for your happy birthday, and I had these left over from another card that I had made, so I thought, well, I'll just use this. So again, it's any greeting that can go on here. You can use any kind of frame to cut it out. It doesn't have to be exactly what I used. So to start off with, I've already got the happy birthday stamped. This is the greeting that I'm putting on the inside, which says, hoping your birthday is filled with all the best things. And we will take our piece of paper for the inside, place our magnet. Let me make sure this is still lined up. This is a card that we did in our class, and I just want to make sure that I'm still reasonably straight, because sometimes it gets a little bit wonky from so many different people using it. But I wanted to show some of the ladies ordered kits, and I wanted to have a video so they could check it out to make sure that they know how to do it. We'll see if that's straight. I don't know. It doesn't look too straight to me, but it could just be my eyeball. I don't think I introduced myself. Most of you know me, but my name is Sherry Minnie. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the small town of Keensburg, Colorado. We're about 45 minutes northeast of Denver. So here is this. We're going to put this down. We have a beautiful, my house faces west and we live on a hill and we're the only house around, and we have such a beautiful view of the mountains today, and it looks like on the top higher peaks. This does not look straight to me, I'm sorry, but it's going to have to do. The higher peaks are just covered in snow. We've had a lot of snow in the mountains here lately, and that should hopefully help maybe with our water situation. I don't know. You never know how that's all going to work out. So, yeah, that's going to bug me to death, but we're going to go with it. Okay, so I don't have quite everything over here I need, but what I should have had over here, maybe I'll, you know what, maybe I'll just take a little, do I have a trimmer over here? No, I don't even do that. But there should be a little piece to go along the bottom of this. I'll have to add that on later because I did not bring one in with me. So there's our stamping. So for our frame, I found the easiest way to do this is to take your frame, and you'll, on the front of it, there are some little embossed marks on it. You want that to be showing. So turn it upside down. Take your green cap glue or some type of glue that you're comfortable with using. As you know, this is my preferred glue. And we're just going to put a little bit, hopefully, if I can get it on. I haven't used it for a while, so it's going to be a little bit clogged up, I think. I'm sorry, I thought I had it. I should have primed it before I got started. We'll see. Oh, yeah, there we go. All kinds of it coming out this time. I don't want all that. Let me take a little bit of that off because we do not need that much glue. So all I'm going to do is just take a piece of scrap paper that I happen to have here and wipe most of that off. That can go in the trash, and then we'll start again. And you just want a little bit. You don't want it gushing out. Sometimes with the glue, if you don't use it for a while, and I haven't used this one for a couple of weeks, it'll get a little bit of a clog in the top part of it there. And then when you finally get it in a clog, man, it comes barreling out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to leave this flat. We're going to take whatever side of the designer series paper you want. I prefer to use the flowers. And we just have a tiny little border. We're just going to lay this on top of our frame. And the goal is you don't want any of the designer series paper showing. Doesn't matter if it's really straight or not because it's going to be covered by the frame. But you don't want any of the paper showing on the outside of the frame. And I think we look pretty, yeah, we look pretty good there. I like the way the white frame sets off the dark colors on this paper, and it just makes it look so pretty. And then we have this, and like I say, I forgot to bring in my little strip of paper, but I can add that later when I get back in my studio and cut some paper. And we'll just take this and stick it down on the inside. And this is quite a bit smaller, and you have a nice border on all four sides. Smaller than the size I would normally use, but I just like the way it looked, okay? I'm going to be changing that out because it's not straight and I can't handle that. Okay, so this is going to be glued down flat to our front of our card. So again, I'm going to use the liquid glue because you know that's my favorite kind of adhesive. I use it very sparingly. Even though on the camera it looks like there's a ton, it's just a line that I can barely see. And then we'll line this up straight. Sorry. And get this on the front of our card. And again, you have a nice wide border, top, bottom, and side. Okay. This is a super quick card. Takes no time at all. All right, and then I'll take my happy birthday. And I have a couple of these that I've already done. I think I'll choose this one. I'm going to take and put some dimensionals on the back. If I have some, and I have some. I'll just trim up some little pieces here because I have these edges, and I use all of mine, so there's no waste. Because this is just the same product materials as the actual dimensional is, so you might as well get them used up. And I'm going to put 3 on there just so I have it well supported. And I have lost my pokey tool that I had. Oh no, it just keeps hiding from me. There we go. Take the backings off. You can place this wherever you choose. I did it about a third of the way up. Put it down. Take our little ribbon. And what I did, I took my glue dot and I actually placed it on the label where I wanted it, and then stuck my ribbon on top. I did kind of squeeze it up a little bit so that it would not be sticking outside of the ribbon. Put the little bow on. Push it down. Kind of play with it so you can read your happy birthday. And then I'm just going to take these and trim them off. I don't want it to be super long. Okay, so there's that. And then I have some little gems here. I have some that are kind of on the purple side. Clean up my house here a little bit because I've got stuff strung everywhere. Just take these little gems, stick them on here. Just wherever you want. I try to kind of, sometimes I put one on the sentiment, sometimes I don't. And let's see, where should we put this one? Again, as I've said many times, I always try to make it kind of like a triangle. And I always do an odd number. Okay? So there we are. Now the other thing I need to do is put on my paper on my envelope flap, which is something I always do. Helps me use up my paper, plus I just like the way it looks on the envelope. So we'll stick that on there. Just right below the fold of your flap. You don't want to go over it. Make sure all the edges are adhered very well so the post office doesn't get upset with you. And we'll take our scissors, trim around this very quickly. Make sure that you kind of rest your scissors up against the flap and let that be your guide for cutting. You'll get a nice smooth edge. We had an interesting experience the last 3 days at our house. We had this little white dog show up, and it was just roaming around on our acreages, and you could tell that it hadn't been missing too long, and it was taken care of, and it would come and scratch at the door and want in the house, but we can't have inside animals, and so I was feeding it, taking food out and water, but it was very skittish. It would not It would not come to me. And lo and behold, this morning I get on my tablet and open up this little neighborhood group, and there was a picture of that dog, and they were looking for their dog. And so, and I knew it was it because I looked at it pretty closely. And so I texted him right away and I said, your dog is hanging around on our property. Well, by the time it got here, it had been sleeping around on the south side of our house where it was nice and warm. But by the time they got here, he had taken off, and something had spooked him because he ran off lickety-split. And those poor people walked and looked, and that dog just was not around. And so I told him, you know, you guys go on home. They didn't live far from us, and he'll come back, and I'll give you a call. So I went in and started working in the studio, and pretty soon I look out, maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes later, I look out, and here's the wife carrying the dog. She had actually found him. So I was so thankful that he got reunited with his family, and she was so excited. So I put him in the car and took her home because they'd been walking, and it was not the warmest of mornings. So that was something that worked out really well, and I'm just so thankful that we were able to help them find their precious pup. So that's it for today. Here's my one I did previously, and as you can see, I changed the colors and everything up. This is Fresh Freesia. It is one of the retiring colors, and unfortunately, fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know, whichever. I'm out of it, and I don't want to reorder more. So again, if you want anything on here interests you, you might like to purchase, you can go to my online store at SherryManey.stampinup.net, and this video with all the details will be posted on my blog at simplylovestampin.com. So have a great day, and may God bless each and every one of you, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.